So for a striker, we need a high carbon steel, like this farrier's rasp, used to clean up horses' feet. See the sparks coming off? Our stone needs to be a hard stone. This isn't true flint because flint is only found in England. But this is some other really hard stone, has smooth edges, smooth sides and sharp edges. And it's harder than this steel, which means as it scrapes, it removes a little bit of the steel, which rolls off from the friction and ignites and burns about 800 degrees. So we know files and rasps are high carbon steels. You can also use stainless, provided that your stainless is a high enough carbon. The only thing you really can't use is a mild steel, like this horseshoe. This doesn't have to be really hard, so it's not. They don't put a lot of carbon in it. Take no sparks, because it's a low, mild carbon steel. So what we'll do today is we'll take one of these files. We'll make a farrier's or a flint striker, and then we'll quench that in either oil or water. We can quench these things in water because we want them to be really, really hard. We quench it in oil, we just have to move it around and make sure it throws sparks. So let's get started. So once you get the initial heat in the steel, it doesn't take nearly as long to heat it back up. Because you're not taking a 60-degree piece of metal and putting it in the fire. You're taking a 150-degree piece of metal, or however hot it is, and putting that in the fire. It doesn't take as long to raise temperature in that steel to make it pliable. Blacksmithing is kind of like playing with really hot Play-Doh. Now as the steel gets smaller, it heats up quicker, but it also cools off quicker because it has less mass. So you gotta be really careful when you're putting it back in the fire though, that you don't let it sit there too long, heat up, and melt. So now we have a good fine point on it. We can put it right on the edge of the anvil. Just kind of work it on over slowly. Make sure it stays squared up, and you see the start of the little curl. We're going to flip around and make little decoratives. We could do this with pliers. We can also do it with our hammer. And there's a little decorative curl. So this little tool here is called a hot cut. Usually you can cut all the way through, but this one cooled off a little too quick. So I'm just going ahead and, since it's really thin and weak right there, I just bend it till it cools off, and it should break. Just like that. Now I gotta get a pair of pliers so I can maneuver this thing. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you what it looks like when a piece of high carbon steel overheats and starts to melt and the carbon starts burning off. You see little sparklers coming out of it. So put that in there and wait till it gets really good and hot and actually starts to melt and burn and the carbon's coming out in little sparks. That's what you don't want if you're trying to forge. Alright, so we got our little striker made from that high carbon stainless steel. We got our rock, we'll find a sharp edge. As soon as we get the rest of this oil knocked off of it, it should start to throw sparks. There's some. Not real good, but we'll get the rest of this burnt oil scraped off it. You can see it's starting to get shiny. As soon as I get this good and shiny, it should start to throw some serious sparks. There we go. You got a shiny spot now. So I got worst of the burnt oil knocked off of it. Hope y'all can see those sparks. I don't know if it's because I took the hood off or what, but this piece of metal didn't get quite hot enough to start melting, but it sure did get warm. Look at that. I can take and warp this just by whacking it. Usually if you're overcooking your metal, you'll see little sparks come out and they'll split up and sparkle. At that point, your steel is melting and the carbon's rolling around in there, coming up to the surface and burning and coming out.